I picked up Dan Bilzerian's book because of Travis Wu. One day I was going through Instagram, I was scrolling, and I saw that he was talking about it. He's a risk taker, a trader, an adventurer, and it really just captured me, brought me in. I read this book in under 2 weeks. It's about 470 pages or so, and it basically just goes over his life from whenever he was younger into an adult. And the biggest thing that caught my attention, what I was interested in, was his time in buds and seals training. And I'm not going to lie, I'm glad that I read it just to clear that part up, because I never heard of the story on what actually happened with him and what actually went down. So it was nice perspective and insight. This dude's tough, man. He's one of the realest dudes that I've read about, and it's also like kind of eye-opening for somebody who could have so much but still enjoy the most from the simplest things, because we all want more. We all chase after more. And it's something that we kind of ingrain in us, like human beings just want more. And I don't even think that this isn't really a book review. This is just like my thoughts and what I took from the book. And maybe not even that. What I enjoyed was him being authentically himself. And what it reminded me that I need to do is to stop caring about what other people think and to just authentically be myself and really not care. Now, that's with a grain of salt, because I actually do care about my image to a certain degree, because my lifestyle has taken a different direction and we're just completely different beings. So as much as I could sit here and read this man's book and appreciate him being the person that he is, it also reminds me to appreciate the person that I am and respect my values and my morals, and also be curious about him, because what he did was went and figured it out. And he takes different steps to get there, and he takes experiences, and he's constantly paying attention. Now, the setup, in my opinion, is basically taking a situation and setting yourself up to be able to play the cards right, to be able to play the game right, to be able to make the odds in your favor. And that's just what he did. And he's also somebody who lives a similar life to me, and I think a lot of us men can relate to a certain degree. And I'm not talking about with the women and all that. Like, this dude's a sex addict through and through, and he talks about it being like kind of a crutch throughout his life, like something that he really wanted as a youngster and then he really like fantasized about. But then there was times in the book to where like he had 50 chicks on a yacht and he couldn't wait to get off of it. And some of his best experiences were sitting on the beach with some of his closest friends, and like one girl or two girls maybe, and then eating mushrooms. And if you're into that, if that's your thing, and the girls or whatever, that's great, man. Do that. Every boy, every man, has their own ambitions. And this guy is, he's an iconic, he's a legend. He literally was like, I'm going to be famous, and became famous in like a year and a half, just based off sheer will and thought. He created an iconic brand whenever cannabis was coming into the legal market. And just the scaling up was very impressive. But he also struggled with not completing things and not finishing things, and kind of getting stuck in this loop, which is something that I can really relate to. There's been times in my life where I've not been able to complete certain things. There's been other times in my life where I have completed things. So it's just really nice perspective. It's really nice to take somebody else's life and their experiences and kind of hop into like a wormhole, so to speak. That's one of the reasons I really love books. This is probably the most unique book that I've ever read, because usually I'm reading things that are like self-help, self-educating, knowledge, some kind of learning or something. And this is like the first book that I picked up and read and was interested in somebody else's life. And there's just stories in here that are just really exhilarating and captivating, but they're also eye-opening. And it also makes you think about like the downfalls of being famous, the struggles that come with having the spotlight on you at all times. Like, there are times in this book and experiences that he went through that absolutely made his life more difficult because he was famous and because he was so well known. And it's kind of crazy to sit here and think that this dude made so much money playing poker and being a poker player and not being considered a professional, and literally looking for the setup that encouraged him to be able to make money. And a lot of it is like up here and playing with people that and that like the situation well. So like I said, this isn't really a book review. I will have a link here if you want to check it out and pick it up. I think that it's a great read, but I also think that you should definitely read it with caution if you struggle with addiction or things. Like, for instance, I'm 2 months sober, and like this dude smokes cannabis in a similar fashion that I used to. And I'm not gonna lie, the first month was pretty difficult, and like breaking that addiction and that mindset because I've been consuming for so long. The second month, I didn't really think about it until I read this book, and in pages, I would find myself like almost fantasizing his life and his lifestyle and where he was at, and like hopping into that little bubble and enjoying the flight that he was getting on, or like hopping on the private jet, because he basically took his trust fund that was about $1 million or so, and he like tricked the world into thinking that he was a trust fund kid and that he had more money than he did. So he was like playing these psychology games and this like total freaking mastermind, man. It's a master class, and whether you like him or not, I could really care less. I don't really care who likes anybody or who doesn't. Was this book extremely valuable to me? Yeah, I absolutely loved how in the opening that he like thanked his dad for reading it and giving his insight, and then totally went against it and was like, I'm glad I didn't listen to you. And I'm glad that you didn't listen to your dad either, because to be quite honest, I think that you sued your dad later for basically draining the fund and draining your accounts or whatever, something like that, man. Y'all can look up that if you want to. But the moral of it is that I took from it was like, live authentically myself. Don't be afraid to chase your dreams. Don't be afraid to live the life that you're encouraged to live. And he lives a lot differently, like the way that he stacks his life. Like, he's on testosterone. That's what he explains in here. Like, one of the reasons that he's able to have the sex drive that he does is synthetic testosterone. I think he's on HGH and some other things, but it kind of makes you think, like, this dude is living a life for a purpose of lifestyle and not necessarily like longevity and vitality. He also talked about having 2 heart attacks from using drugs in the wrong way and kind of thinking he was invincible and not really thinking about the negative side effects that could come, and just kind of just pounding whatever he wanted and doing whatever he wanted. So there's a lot of things that I can relate to being in the military from before, and I think that's what really drew me into him, was his unwillingness to quit and his willingness to go on. But he says that he's not a team player, and I think that there's some value in that, to understand about yourself. Maybe you are a team player, maybe you're not a team player, but you have to respect the grit, you have to respect the hustle, you have to respect like the authenticity and the genuine version of this person. He walked away from a medical retirement from the military because he got injured and wanted to go back because he had something to prove. He wanted to finish. And then like on the last day, he still wasn't able to because basically people cock blocking him. And it's like, dang, dude, human beings are really wild, and they're really interesting, like how much we don't want somebody to succeed. He also goes into, like, when it does come to women, he goes into this really kind of like, I wouldn't say tricky, but like he knows how to use women and like how to play the psychology and not chase them, and basically make them desire him in a unique way. Like, I don't know, man. It's interesting to read, because if you read this book and you're a dude who has, had women in your life in the past, you'll relate to certain parts of this. A lot of people probably wish and fantasize that they were able to do these kind of things, but dude, if you really like sit down and dissect it and you go into it, there's a lot more pain here. There's a lot less self-worth and like self-validation and being able to like fulfill yourself, like there's always some kind of external validation here. And he even gets to it, and like, you have all the things that you can imagine, all the materialistic things, all the women and all that, and some of your favorite days are some of the simplest, that he expresses like a hippie in a van could have had the same day. And that's just really is something. Life is beautiful, life is precious, and I really appreciate him taking the time to write this book and finish this book. I think that it was important to him, and I think that there is an importance to reading something like this as a man, it led me to get a couple other books that are different. And let me see, I got a couple of them right here. So in reading this book, it got my head thinking, and I actually ended up picking up a couple other books that are totally unrelated to this. One of them is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. And I asked the homie, which is ChatGPT, like if you could recommend one book that I read and that I get value for the rest of my life, what would it be? And it said this one would be good in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. It'll give you a different perspective. So I picked that one up. Because of reading this book, it got my juices thinking. And then I also got The War of Art, Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles. So those are two books that I picked up. On top of that, I got a couple other trading books that I recently got, but I'm actually taking like a week off because I just feel like making the content for trading has really made it like more pressure on me. And with this book, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I need to approach trading thinking about the other players on the other side of the table, right? So instead of sitting here and being a retail trader, I need to look at who's on the other side of these charts. What are these other game players doing? And it kind of gets your brain thinking. And that's what I mean. Like the things that I mentioned in this book, like great. Even the whole time I read this book, there are certain men that'll read this book and they will get fascinated in the lifestyle, in the women, in the luxurious things. That's not what I took from this book at all, though. Was it interesting? Sure. Was it painful? Abso-freaking-lutely. I wouldn't trade my life that I have with my wife and my children for any of this right now because it's too precious and it's mine. That's one of the biggest things, like it's mine. And that's something that I love in here. At the end of it, he even says, like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a one woman type of guy, a one man type of guy, a 10 woman. It doesn't matter who you like, who you love, or how many. What ultimately matters is that you're authentically you, that you're living your life to your fullest desires, and that you're not afraid to like go out there and get it and chase after it. But ultimately, that you understand the dynamics of the table that you're sitting at, or whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever you're trying to do. You can literally become famous without having any talents whatsoever. That's what he says in this book. And I genuinely believe that. Think about all the access that we have today, and think about all of the things that we're able to access with our fingertips. Like even sitting here right now, I'm not a famous person, but I'm able to connect with all types of people in the world. And if one of these videos slaps and it just happens to take off, great, that's awesome. And if I continue to get 1 or 2 subscribers every once in a while, that's freaking awesome. That's even more impactful for me. I don't really care if I have 500 subscribers if I connect with those people, if I build a bond with those people. And I'm being myself throughout this process. I'm not changing who I am. I am changing the version of myself. I'm trying to go through and work on some traumas. Sure, I'm being a little bit vulnerable in like my sobriety journal and stuff like that. Sure, I might be making trading content and I might be like failing and be like, okay, I'm going to give up that for a while because I'm not enjoying the content that I'm making. But I'm still me. I'm still this version of me. I'm still on a path. I'm still on this trail of like self-mastery and being a better version of myself, but not at the cost of myself. You know what I mean? Like I have given so many parts of myself to other people that I'm at a point to where I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to give anybody else a version of me that I don't feel happy with. I don't want to live a life that I'm not happy with. Do I want millions of dollars in my bank account? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Do I want it so I can have a bunch of fancy things? Not really, dude. I just want to be able to fly my family out and travel and take them to awesome places, eat good food, be able to take care of my health, be able to take care of other people, make sure that my kids don't have to work for some dick weasel or something like that. I just want to be able to like help provide for other people. That's why I'm not going to give up. That's why I'm going to keep coming to the drawing board and I'm going to keep drawing. I'm going to keep coming and throwing darts until I hit a bullseye. And one of these days I'm going to hit. I keep putting things into my brain space that's very useful. Even holding this camera up right now is a book, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. And I sit here and look at it all the time. Even over here, holding my other camera up, The Playbook, an insider look on how to think like a professional trader. So I had to look at it. I haven't read this one yet. So I just have all these books that I'm just stacking up. And I even have to tell myself, yo, don't worry about external validation. Don't worry about social media because I get stuck on my phone sometimes. I get stuck in this zone that's not really like fruitful to my outcome. It's like it's not going to bring me something that I'm looking for long term. And I have a goal, I have ambitions, I have things that I'm wanting to chase, but somewhere along the way I've gotten lost, and it's like my ship has taken on water and I just started to kind of sink a little bit. There's a lot of things in this dude's book that I relate to, and like reading over, there was parts of my life that I was able to kind of flash back to and see, and it was really interesting to like hop back and see a version of me and be able to relate to certain things. And I'm not sitting here saying that like my life is like Dan's or anything like that, but certain fragments of it are, certain parts of it are. And that was really captivating to me. It was really interesting to sit here and read a book that was undoubtedly meant for somebody who has lived a similar path, but like not on this scale. And I don't ever think I want to live on this scale, to be honest. Like the stress that he talks about from high stakes gambling and losing that much money and stuff, that's not something that I'm really like interested in long term. Even as a day trader and as a trader, like $10,000 a week would be great. If I scale up from there, awesome. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm much more interested in monetizing on YouTube and building a following and having a platform here. But reading these type of books, it gets you thinking, man, because this is an extraordinary individual. This individual has far surpassed what most people will ever do in a lifetime. And he's like no different than any of us, and he says that he's just a dude who has grit, has resilience, he's a tough dude. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, if you know who Togi is, it's like he kind of cracks these jokes and makes these little skits, and he's like, why not you? And it's like, well, why not you? Mostly because we get in our own headspace and we lack the ability to believe in ourselves long term, and we don't stay disciplined. I think that it's so important that we just put ourselves out there and we continue to just show up. And no matter what happens, no matter if we shift gears, I've really struggled throughout my life with finishing things. And there's only been a few things that I've actually finished, and I'm very proud of them. And I'm not even going to get into them because they don't matter, and they're my accomplishments that I've achieved that I'm grateful for and thankful for. I'm honestly learning to like not be so expressive about certain things. Like, sure, I get on here and I talk. I'm pretty vague about a lot of things too. I don't open up my book. I don't let everybody into it. I don't know if I ever will or if I really want to let everybody into it. Some of this stuff is just for me. Some of the stuff is just for those around me. And as I get older and as I progress, I'm like, yo, what do I really, really, really want at the core of my life? And that's kind of what's leading us to our next move. I'm not looking at this crazy lifestyle. I'm looking at downsizing my home and paying twice that I'm paying right now for my mortgage, and selling the house and just moving and just like looking for new opportunities and taking risks to build the life that we want and to go and experience. Out of all of the people that we've told that we're thinking about moving to California, we've got maybe 3 people out of 20 that have been supportive. Maybe 3, maybe. And it's still kind of like every person we talk to has put some seed of like doubt. And it's almost like people want to drag you down, whether they want to do it intentionally or not. And it's kind of mind-boggling to sit here and watch so many people just want to get by. So many people not want to thrive and not want to go and take risks. Like, how long are you here on this planet for? How long are you living? We have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, we could literally be taking our last breath tomorrow. Would you be happy with that breath that you took? Would it be everything that you wanted? Would you be looking at the deathbed, looking at the Reaper and saying, take me, I'm cool with it, let's go? No way I would. And I've lived a freaking intense life. It's been incredible. It's been beautiful. I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had grief, loss, I've had love, I've had freaking awesome times, I've had horrible times, but they're mine. And I still have so much left to do here on this planet. And I'm not going to stop. Even when I get in my head, even when this is warfare up here, even whenever things get tough and challenging and I stop believing in myself and I get all down and I start feeling depressed and I go through anxiety and I go through all of these different feelings and emotions, I still show up. Even if it's hard, I still show up. Even if people don't believe in me, I still show up for myself. And reading a book like this and reading this really like reminded me, just keep showing up, just keep not giving up. just keep focusing on like my setup and thinking about like, okay, that's the one thing that I'm gonna like really say is like it's about the setup. And it took me like getting to the end of the book and even going back to Travis Wu's like mentality on it. It's like setting up the cards and the setting up the table to benefit you and to give you the best odds of success, whatever that is for you. And that's just something that I'm really thinking about. And I'm just going to keep reading books because I think books are like little capsules in time and space where you can hop into somebody else's life and you can take on a like fraction of what they have going on and what they, because it's your visualization from there, but it's a form of visualizing. And I think that's really important. I visualize all the time moving to California and people like telling us like, oh, you know, it's going to be expensive. Like, no, I'm just sitting here not budgeting. Like, no, I have a freaking 770 credit score just because I've not been paying attention in my life and I have no idea and I've not learned one thing. I don't ever miss a bill, ever. You want to know why? Because I've learned what missing bills does to my life, what it does to my credit, what it does to my mental. I don't miss bills. I don't miss payments. I'm very much aware of what's going on. So when somebody's like, oh, you know how expensive it's going to be? I do. Do you know how mental it is? Having the ability to live a life that others wish that they could dream, like others dream to be able to live the opportunities that I've been given, my family's been given. And the fact that we get to homeschool our kids, like that's a complete luxury. That's not something that everybody gets to do. So we have to think outside of the box. We have to think what's best for our family. We have put so many people before us. And it's like, why? Why? Not that we don't love people, not that we're not there for them, but what about our family? What about what we're doing? You know, like our family decided to come here and settle down in Missouri. Great. I'm glad you guys did. That's awesome. If you guys are happy here, then stay here, bro. But that has nothing to do with us. That's not what we want for our family. That's not what we want for our children. That's not what we want for us. We want to go to a place that has manageable winters where it's nice during the day, and if it gets a little bit chilly at night, all right, great. We want to be able to see the beach. We want to be able to go on daily walks. We want to go to the boardwalk. We want to go to a place that's set up for family and set up for kids. Will we stay there forever? Who freaking knows? Will the scenery be awesome? Yeah. Will the experience be awesome? Yep. Is it gonna be freaking cool? Heck yeah, man. Is it scary? Yeah, dude, it's a huge risk. Am I gonna be nervous? Yeah, I'm taking my whole family across the freaking country. Do I have family that's a few hours away? Yeah. And am I going to try and reconnect with them and hang out and spend some time with them? For sure, absolutely. But I'm not doing that for these people. I'm doing it for us. And like reading this book, even more so concreted, like, bro, I got to go live my life, man. And I got to go and enjoy the wife that I have and the kids that I have. And then like, yeah, dude, I want to build wealth. Do you think that I'm just like sitting here thinking about all of the things that could go wrong? For a brief moment, yes, because I'm trained and programmed to make sure that I'm scanning and to make sure that I'm thinking of all the possible outcomes. Do I want to fail? No, absolutely not. Am I willing to fail to learn so I can progress as a human being? Yes, absolutely. Do I want my kids to see the best version of me? Yeah, man, that's why I got sober. That's why I'm putting in the work. Is it easy? No, dude. I literally am sitting here talking to a freaking camera because I don't have friends anymore. I'm sitting here talking to a camera because I've talked to every freaking therapist and counselor that I've thought of, and it just doesn't lead me anywhere else. I've put in so much work. I've given myself to so many other individuals. I've tried so many different medications. I've lost myself on so many different substances. I have literally pulled myself out of the freaking ground and drugged myself through the mud to be here, and it's still freaking hard. It's still challenging, but it's mine, and I'm working on it. And like reading this book just lit me up. It just made me want more. And that's why I said this isn't a book review. I'm not talking about him per se. I'm talking about the juices and the creative flow that it's bringing me. If you want to read the book, dude. Check out the link. Get it on eBay. Go get it at a bookstore. Whatever, dude. However you want to get it. Obviously, I'd be grateful if you picked this up through my link. That's what this whole thing is about for me on a selfish level. I'm trying to create wealth. If I connect with you and you're going to get this book, great, dude. Obviously, it's going to help me. and I'm going to be super grateful and appreciative of you. I'm more interested in like, let me know what you thought about the book. Have you read this book? Did it change your mind or anything? Did you think that there were parts that were silly? Did you think that there were parts that were beneficial? Did you think there was parts that was dumb? I definitely thought all the women and the way that he lives his life is a bit much, but I'm also not a sex addict. I also have control over these parts of my life to some degree, even if I struggle with some things, even if in the past I've made really bad decisions and I've hurt people, I have continuously tried to learn from them. And that's what this human experience has been really, really eye-opening. Like, we're spiritual beings living a human experience. And I genuinely believe that. I don't think that energy dies when we die. I think that this canvas is no longer, but I think that we are a form of energy. And I'm not sure where we go or what that means for the afterworld or anything. But I think that right now I am this light and I am this existence and I am this energy and I'm like charged. And I'm just trying to find my way and my path. And I'm just kind of like talking and ranting because like this is my lab. This is where I come to just kind of do whatever I want. If I'm inspired, I'm working on a little vlog right now. It has absolutely no meaning whatsoever. It's just me vlogging around and doing stuff in my life and talking to the camera and having fun because that's who I am. Tactiscopes, the freaking YouTube channel that I'm working on, I'm not even going to do a video tonight because I've got enough coming out for the next week and a half. And I've got 3 more videos to edit because I do them all the time. And I'm enjoying the process. I'm having fun. It's so nice to actually have some sense of a purpose to be able to do something because without going too much into detail in my personal life and stuff, like I'm a full-time stay-at-home dad. I've tried working many of jobs. From the military, I struggle, whether it's getting into fights with people, whether it's not being able to communicate, whether it's my pain, which mostly is my pain. I've tried, but I don't do well with civilians. I don't, dude. People start complaining or talking something, and if people get disrespectful, I will be ready to fight you. I will be ready to drop you to the ground or get dropped to the ground, whatever. I do not care. I struggle to fit into normal society. I've been institutionalized. It's been 10 years since I've been out of the military, and even my wife all the time is like, you talk about it like you're still living in it. I'm probably going to be like that till the day I die. I idolize the military. I love the military. My whole dream throughout my whole life was to be a soldier. I wanted to do 20 years in the military. When I got hurt, it was the most painful thing to me. Imagine being one of the top tier soldiers in your platoon and then going to be treated like a freaking mutt and just being beaten over in the corner because you got hurt. Like, dude, it messes with my head. It makes me fucking crazy. It makes me mad, dude, that I went from being this person who was constantly trying to keep up with dudes 2 or 3 times my size, trying to carry weight on my back that was just as heavy as me, if not heavier at times. Absolutely putting my body through the ringer just to be chewed up and tossed off like a chew toy. Dude, it does something to hear. So then when I try to go and I try to like live this mediocre, ordinary life, I don't do well with it. I don't fit in well. And now I've not had a job in like 7 or 8 years, and I'm not going to go back because I just can't. I just cannot. I literally can't. And I do not use the word can't often, but I can't go work a job. I've tried. I've almost went to jail because of it. I've had so many mental breakdowns that have put me into checking myself into the hospital. I can't do it anymore. So it's so nice to have this place to where I can just come here and exist without having to worry about not being able to like fit in or not being able to perform or my body giving out or my nerve damage. Like, dude, I can't even tell you how much I have struggled being out of the military and how broken my body has made me suffer. And I don't even care, dude. I have a smile on my face right now because like I'm actually charged up. And if it's one thing, like reading this dude's book too, is he's put so much into like veterans and other people. And I often remind myself there's so many other people out there who have it so bad and have it so much worse than I do. But like I always say, this isn't a competition. Like we're not sitting here measuring our peeps, man. I don't care what your journey is. I hope that you don't care what my journey is, because I'm not going to sit here and compare them. To be quite honest, I've went through things that you'll never experience, you'll never understand, and vice versa. Some people have went through things. I don't know what it's like to get my legs blown off, but I know what it's like to not have my legs work and have to crawl to the freaking bathroom. I know what it's like to crawl down the hallway because my legs don't work anymore. I know what it's like to absolutely not be able to function, not be able to perform. I know what it's like to not be able to feel my arms from nerve damage and not be able to have blood flow there. I know what it's like to have a curved spine. I know what it's like to have all these things that I've experienced, and the list goes on and on and on. I could sit here and go on for 30 minutes about what my pain is and all that. Doesn't matter. That's not my point. My point is that we all can relate to each other one way or another. And like through this book, I relate with this unwillingness to give up, but unwillingness to conform and give up parts of yourself to do so. I've already given up so many parts of myself. You know what I mean? It's like now it's like, okay, there's some thing out there that I am looking to experience, and half of it is the journey, half of it is the road, and like what I'm living right now. So I'm just ranting and rambling. This book rate made me feel like really, really intrigued, alive. When I got finished with it, I was kind of like, that's a really interesting book, but I don't 100% know like what the moral of the story is. Even though I do understand the book, but I also understand that like this man is just writing his experiences, writing what his journey entailed, and then sharing it with us. Like he changed so many people's names in here to protect them. And when you read about this, there's so many people who vouch for the kind-hearted kindred spirit. Like some of the instances that he got in, he didn't shy and he didn't cower away from certain experiences. And then even though there was people out there saying that he did, even though there was still people bashing him and talking on him, trying to make a name for themselves in some seriously tragic moments. And it just like goes to show you this dude's character is freaking iconic and legendary. If I ever had the opportunity to meet him, I'd just shake his hand and be like, dude, your book, solid. I love that. I really love that shit. It's just so freaking cool, man. But yeah, man, like I said, not a book review, but a life experience sharing moment to where I'm just kind of like, you know, it's okay to want more, but you have to appreciate what you have along the way. And even like right now in my life, I'm really struggling with not being out and about in the world. I'm struggling with not wandering and not adventuring, but I'm so sacredly embracing this time that I have with my daughters, because there's like lost time that I'm making up for in a sense, and these moments are fleeting and they're going by so fast. And I understand how incredibly blessed I am, even though I'm enduring nonstop constant pain, and even though I will never, I don't know if I'll ever go a day again without experiencing pain, but at least I know I'm alive, you know, and that's something. I don't know, man. Now I feel everything at its freaking core because there's no vices, there's nothing to suppress it. I still take ibuprofen. I still take, like, dude, I have a bottle sitting right here, and it's there because I need it often. So it's like when I sit here and I'm like, oh, I'm completely sober and stuff. Like, dude, I just started taking my glucosamine and chondroitin again, my fish oils, my ginkgo biloba or whatever. I can't pronounce this stuff half right. My freaking, I think I said vitamin D. My COQ10. So there's like this regimen of supplements that I do take, but I struggle with taking things long term because I've had such a bad experience with being prescribed things to where I woke up, and I'm just be real with you guys, okay? I've been suicidal a few times in my life, and I've tried to cross that line, and I've tried to cross that threshold, and it's one of the reasons that I came back to Missouri, because all the stuff that went down with my son. My family was worried about me. My mom was worried about me. I was in a really dark place. I didn't have anybody there, and I thought I might kill myself. I was pretty close, and I was about to give up. So I loaded up my truck. I lived out of my truck for some months until my buddy was like, I need you here, and it was kind of a good fit. I ended up staying. I'm actually no longer homies with that dude anymore. And you know what? It's like we have to go our separate ways, but we have to embrace the life that we have. We have to just love and appreciate things. So I'm really, really freaking thankful that I got the opportunity to read this book, especially at this time in my life. And I'm going to read it again, I'm sure, but for now I'm going to move on. I really think that this book is what I'm going to read next. And it's an older book. It looks like super old. I picked it up off of eBay, but it looks like it'll fit in my pocket. I appreciate you guys being here and listening to me. If you made it this far, I really appreciate your time and your support, and I value it more than you know. And when I see likes and I see comments and stuff, like, it uplifts me so much, because when somebody gives their time, it's like the ultimate commitment and it's the ultimate exchange for me, because I don't really want to make money off of people in a normal fashion. Like, maybe I'll have a clothing brand down the road. Maybe I'll get into some supplements or something. Sure, maybe I'll create businesses, but that's going to require a team. That's going to require building an edge around me and having people that share a similar vision or see the potential and the value in what we're doing. But this is more about connecting with people. This is more about community. This is more about accepting people for who they are and welcoming them and pushing people to be the best version of themselves that they can be, and then showing up and being 1% better than we were yesterday. And if we fall and we stumble, just having a place to help pick each other up. Because I know more than ever, I'm recluse right now, and I'm not 100% recluse, okay? What it is I've given up substances. I have quit cannabis. I have quit drinking alcohol. I have quit doing drugs. I've quit doing all of these things that used to tie me into this social life. And when you take all of those things away, you realize that it's just you sitting there. And yeah, fortunately, I have my wife, and God bless her heart, because I know that it has not been easy to deal with me throughout this transition, but she's truly she's so important to me. And my daughters give me so much resilience and so much strength, even when it gets so hard and I just want to throw in the towel. I remember that I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for other people. And no matter how hard it is, no matter how hot the flames are, no matter how high they are, I'm just going to keep walking. I'll walk right through the fire. And I'm just so grateful and so appreciative that I have been able to get to this point in my life, but it's come with extreme sacrifice. I don't leave my house much. I'm not social anymore. I don't have a social life. Like I've said multiple times, I live in pain nonstop. It's something that really consumes me. I can't sit on the couch, right? I can't sit on the couch for longer than 15 or 20 minutes without being excruciating pain. Even sitting here and doing this, I'm kind of moving around a little bit. I popped an ibuprofen again before I came up here and did this. And I'm sitting here with a stiff back, really trying to keep it straight. But dude, up the whole thing, my right side of my arm over here, I'm moving it around. It's numb. There's bone fragments in there. And it's my phone will ring and it'll be one of my homies. And I'm like, I do not have the energy to talk to you. I just don't even have the energy to have a conversation that isn't fulfilling to me right now, because I don't like small talk right now. I don't dude, drinking alcohol. Even in the past, I've been a social drinker. I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert whenever I'm like this. And when you strip away all the substances and stuff, it's who am I? And what am I? And when I'm not, on a cocktail of medications and everything, I'm just honestly this broken dude who's trying to put together the pieces. And reading this book has been really great. It's been really great, and it's honestly inspired me a lot. And I'll take all the inspiration and all the motivation, all the drive that I can get. Dudes bet against this guy. People bet against him, and that just gave him fuel. And I feel when people bet against me, it does the same thing, but from a really humbling place, because I genuinely don't care if you bet against me. It means nothing to me if you're for me or if you're not for me, or if you believe in me or if you don't believe me, because that's not really what drives me. So I appreciate you guys being here, man. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you're doing well. And if you're somebody who's looking for a good read, check the book out. It's great. It's really great. And if you don't enjoy it, man, let me know. And, sorry if you don't like it, but not sorry at the same time. Until next time.